Greetings, everyone. I'm Tawnya Love, and welcome to the Tawnya Love Show. And today I'm really excited to interview one of my new angel friends. Her name is Angelica Rose, and I just want to welcome Angelica to the show today. So, want to say hi, Angelica?
Yes, it's such a pleasure to meet another angel. It's a pretty one too.
Yay! I know
Yay.
we actually had it was kind of fun and synchronistic how we met. Do you want to share that and kind of get our interview started?
It was just through Facebook with Keeping the Love Vibe. It was just kind of funny how the universe brings people together when a message is important to share to help to support those that are requiring a deepening with their heart and a trust with the universal process of love. And through
Yes.
that, you saw the message, and we had this dialogue, and we were coming from this abundant place of flowing with the way we share the universal love of the planet. And it was pretty apparent that we had a similar focus on what love is all about and how to project it onto the planet.
Absolutely. It was
Yeah.
really playful. And next thing I know, I'm chatting with Angelica um, through Facebook, and then she all of a sudden my phone's ringing, and she's like, "Hey, it's Angel," and I was like, "Hi," and so we just like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And it's been really
And
fun and playful, and just I
we're
agree with
both from the Northwest, which is even
yes.
funnier.
It is. And then the next thing I know, we're chatting just about, the work we're doing and what we're doing to help the clients that are, I like to call it summoned in because it's like the angels summon them in and when they're ready. And Angel and I were chatting, and next thing we're going to be doing Prana Fest together in Ashland. So I'm super excited to go and do that fun adventure. And
Yes.
yay, it's
August
just kind of
22nd,
fun.
23rd, and 24th, if you choose to come to Ashland, it's going to be an amazing
Yes.
experience with music and fire ceremonies and wonderful experiences.
I'm so excited. Yeah, so any of you that are local, or if you're even not local and you want to come and join us and meet us and come and receive a healing in person, come on to Ashland for the Prana Fest. It'll be so
Yeah,
much fun.
yeah.
Yay. So we'll start with chatting about Angelica. So I want to have a chance for everyone to get to meet her. And we both realize we have a lot in common when we were chatting, um, just in what we're here on the planet to assist with and our angelic assistance. And so I would like her to have a chance to explain what she's doing and how she came to connect with all this.
We'll be bouncing back and forth like the ping pong ball.
Yes.
Well, some people know what it means and others don't, and it's all perfectly well. In 11/1 of 97, I dropped in. I'm from the fairy angelic realm. And so my purpose is to remind others that are ready to move their inner spirit into a greater, deeper awakening and less of their humanness into the struggle route, to shift the focus to awaken to greater love, to greater joy, and greater peace. That's what I assist people with. I can see, feel, and hear your spirit guides from the angelic realm. I don't get caught up in the human filters. I see when people die, walk into the light, and I can read the energy points, and I read the called chakras. The eight of them is the ones, even though there are more than eight, I read the eight and support people in kind of shifting the focus of what I would call the cocoon route of
That's
moving
exactly
through
what I
life.
call it all the time.
Yeah, and just
Yes.
kind of having more of a freedom and a playfulness. We do get caught up in, everyone does, in our human stuff, and fully taking responsibility for it and taking ownership for it and just really moving deep into that loving place as quickly as you can so that you can be free of the programs that are keeping you in a place that's not coming from a love for yourself, a love for the humanness. Some people think the ego is bad. I don't. I think the ego is part of the physical realm, and it's important to love that part of yourself as well. It's just not who you are. It's what you're
Exactly.
experiencing.
I agree. And I feel like the ego, if we start feeling like it's a good or a bad thing, that's when we start creating more resistance and we really create a lot of unnecessary suffering. But that ego part, it's just like a conditioned part of us, and it's good to be aware of it and to know when it's taking you for a ride and when you've kind of lost your sense of identity to your soul, and to really understand that you're much more than that ego. So that's a great way to
Exactly.
describe that. And we have
Yeah,
to be mindful of that, don't we? And stay playful. I even
mindful,
laugh at my
heartful.
ego.
Yeah, the everything, the mind, the heart, the body, really being fully aware that you're not any of that.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be separated from your inner spirit. It can be combined. And when you do combine it, you go above this line of one vibration to another vibration. It's like walking through doors. Your vibration gets lighter and lighter and lighter as you start removing the programs that are keeping you stuck in a denser place. And then you become
Yes.
freer to live your purpose. It's
Yes.
quite
Which
an
is what we're
amazing.
here for, right?
Exactly. This other stuff doesn't make any
And
sense.
exactly. So for beings like Angelica and I, we are very aware of the human conditioning, but we're not really caught up in it. But we observe it, and don't want to speak for you, but I have that feeling with you is that that's what that's what gives our hearts the most joy and excitement is when we can assist a soul that's really tired of struggling, and they're ready to
Exactly.
find that free space, and they're ready to flow, and they're ready to enter what I call the land of abundance instead of living and just surviving in the land of lack. Because it's really a
Exactly.
choice, it's a perspective, right?
It's so perfectly put is that, and that's what I was meant with the vibration level. When you're going through these doors, one has a denser vibration or limitation, the other
Yes.
has more of a higher vibration or an abundance. And there's the not only do you have to work on connecting it within your own self, but then you also have the collective consciousness. And when you get caught up in the
Yes.
collective consciousness, then you're not only dealing with stuff that you're dealing with, then you have the collective consciousness stuff. And it's about being in the world without getting caught up in the otherness of the world.
Yes.
And it's quite an adventure when you move above a line. I like to call it a line, which is what they've been telling me lately. It's like I could see the visual of a line. As soon as you get above it, it's like, what's that game where
Yes.
you go underneath the line and above the line and you can't touch the pole or something? Pole, what's that game?
Oh, like the do the limbo where you like
Yeah, like it's like
dance?
the limbo. Instead of touching the line, you want to go above it.
Yes. Well, and it's interesting because my angels, I've taught a lot of laws of attraction workshops and how to manifest. And it's something that years ago I was still playing with the concept of like, okay, I've got this little nugget, this works. Wait, why is it not working consistently? And I was really still learning a lot about it. And now I went from a place of theory of how to manifest to now knowing, and that is definitely coming from you're at this lower, heavier, denser vibration as you're describing it, and you're going into a higher vibration or frequency where infinite possibilities, and you really begin to manifest and draw to you so much more quickly. But it's really important that we acknowledge the vibration. And I feel that's one thing that Angelic and I understand is vibration and frequency. And when we can help a client understand that, not look at their life as so solid and like they're making mistakes and they're bad, but look at it as these choices you're making are coming from a heavy, dense place, and if you like that, go ahead and keep doing it. But if it doesn't feel very fun, maybe it's time to go higher in vibration. And so when you talk about a line, that's something my angels have shown me is, like on meters, there's the dial, like on a
Yes,
gas gauge or something, they'll show me that and they'll say, when you're in fear, when you're in anxiety, when you're in panic or anything of a heavier vibration, you're here on the gauge. But when you choose excitement, when you choose abundance, gratitude, you go higher in vibration. And we all have the same moment right now we're sharing. You're sharing this moment, I'm sharing it. If I am in fear about the next moment, my gauge is set here. But if Angelica's gauge is set here, she doesn't know the future any more than I do. We're just sending out vibrations and rockets of desire of what we'd like. But she's going to enjoy her journey a little more than someone that's set to fear.
exactly.
And that's all
And
it is.
it is. And the thing that's important is fear is just basically false evidence that appears so real that it wins a nomination and award.
Yes.
And when you're an ultra sensitive and you buy into that energy frequency, it tends to pull you down. Well, when you come to a neutral place or when you come to a place of embracing it, it can't suck you in. And so many people that are moving from one vibration to the next have this fear of being around those that are caught up in that energy because they're afraid they're going to catch it like a cold.
Which
And
pulls them down.
which pulls down exactly. And
Yes.
so you get to this place where you make a commitment, your will has and your commitment has to be strong. And then once you start moving up that meter or above that line, whichever feels most appropriate for you in the analogy, it's going to drop you a few times until your commitment is so solid that you're choosing to be happy over choosing to be in pain or
Yes.
over choosing to be sad or whatever that energy is. When your commitment is so strong, it's almost like you're running a marathon. You're going to fall off. You're going to fall a few times. Eventually, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, where it's not going to pull you down anymore because you're not going to choose to let yourself get sucked into it. You're just going to say that's not who I am.
Absolutely. And there is a journey in that, and I think it's really important
Exactly.
that humans give themselves that journey and don't think I think the biggest frustration I've observed in clients is when, the ego takes them over and they start, "Oh, I suck at meditating," or, "Oh, I'm terrible at this," or, "Oh, and they start to really identify and claim it. If it's a sickness, if it's um, anything that they start to identify with solidly, like this is my depression. And I really try to encourage them to see it more like an energy, kind of like the clouds floating in the sky, and let that energy just pass through because you don't have to
Exactly.
stay with it. Just let it pass and be one with it. But that energy is bringing you some kind of an awareness or some kind of an assistance to help you. It's like the universe really wants us all to thrive, but we actually are gonna call forth the very tests that we need to condition our strength, to really get us, like you said, to be committed, 100% committed to the path of love and to keep our vibration our dial set to love rather than set to fear. And that is a journey and a process.
Yeah, and another way that I also, in addition to what you were sharing, is that when I look at it as it's either you're a separation or you're a oneness with the human part. It's
Yeah.
not, for me, it's the way that I like to explain it is it's not that the humanness is controlling your life. It's if you allow it to control it, you become a victim to it and you
Mhm.
think it has more power over your inner
Yes.
spirit's power. And so it starts to drive your life. It's like if you can imagine being in a car, who's driving the car? Well, you say, okay, I want life to be more peaceful. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know is you're kicking your spirit to the side. I'll drive the car. Just tell me what to do. No, you be quiet. Let me drive the car. Okay, help me. Okay, wait a second. Stop talking. Let me figure this out. Okay, wait. Now, what did you say? I can't hear
Yes,
you. Okay, because I want to focus on
exactly.
my stuff. Okay, but I really do want to hear you and I really do want to be happy and I really don't want to be in pain, but let me drive the car. And the next thing you know, you hit all these dead ends and you get really frustrated and you go, it's your fault, Spirit. You should have told me what to do. And then
Exactly.
you finally stop playing this game. And when you get to enough of that separation and you start to hold the hands, hug each other, and I'm using this as a funny analogy, it becomes a oneness and then all of a sudden you're flowing with life because your inner spirit is in control and your humanness doesn't have to go through that fight flight protect mode of trying to force control fear insecurity, which by the way fear and insecurity are two biggest reasons why there is that separation in the first place.
Yes.
And when you start connecting from that place of love and that place of freedom, the fear doesn't overwhelm you. It just is part of a life that, and you become the observer rather than the participant. So you're flowing more and you're not driving your life as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something over the last probably 2 years that I've really embraced, and it's been so amazing and magical. But living most of my life in that human conditioning of fear and control and thinking, oh God, what's going to happen next? And not really believing in the power of your own spirit. That's something that it's like such a contrast of an experience to be in that place where you think You have to control everything. And to go to a place where you really know that the universe loves and supports you and that you're one with everything. When you understand your oneness, you know that everything is here to support your highest growth and potential. So if there's a conflict, if there's someone falls away out of your life, um, if there's say you have a job and it's taken, anything that falls away, you start to realize it's a blessing and a gift, and you don't cling and attach anymore. You're just like, oh, okay, I guess that's not for my highest good. You observe it and you're a participant in the joyful ride. But I think it just changes from that old conditioning of grabbing onto the rocks in the river, and just flowing like a leaf on top. And
Exactly.
you're going with the flow. And it's such, wouldn't you say it's just the most beautiful way that we can live life? And we do have moments where we can lose our focus. That's part of the human conditioning, and that can happen if we're tired, if we're hungry, if we've just been under a lot of tension from too many people and we're not really feeling as authentically playful as we normally are. It can test us, and then we can get caught in that ego a little faster. But we can always return. I look at everything as someone today on Facebook was saying something about making mistakes. And I was like, I don't really believe in mistakes. I really feel that everything is just a learning opportunity.
That's
It's
what
an oppor
mistakes is. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's just
serendipity. It's an opportunity to learn and grow.
yes. And if you look at it like it's a bad thing, like I made a mistake, I failed, which I feel a lot of humans have been taught
That's
to do
Murphy law.
this. Yes, and that feels terrible. You feel like a
Right.
bad person. But if you look at it as like, okay, I learned a lesson. What is it that this opportunity is bringing to me? And I look at life as every moment is bringing us opportunities for more love. And it's up to us to recognize that opportunity for love, or we sometimes miss the opportunity for love, but it'll come around again, just like the waves in the ocean will ebb and flow for eternity. It's just going to keep coming around to help us have another opportunity. So there's
Exactly.
plenty, there's no lack.
Exactly.
I can
And
see your
the
incense wafting up.
oh no. And the other thing and the other thing that's so important to understand is that love comes in different vibrational levels and in different forms.
Yes.
And when you get to a place of moving to a place where you're connected to your inner spirit, and that's one of the reasons why I just so love that I also can hear and feel my spirit guides. And so while I'm walking on the path, I still make the decisions, but I also can feel that they're also concurring and supporting me, so that I'm always in
Yeah.
this choosing to be in this abundant place of choices. And the form of love can come in different forms. It can come as an animal form, it can come as a plant form, as it can come as a human form. And so depending upon your openness and your readiness and the level of it, that's how the love enters into your energy field. And when for me, I have a different relationship with the energy of love. I look at it from a place of a high regard for love. And so my relationship with love is kind of different than, how everybody just kind of walks around and they take love for granted, or they don't they have a condition attached to it, or
Yeah.
they don't have a meaning behind a hug, or they don't have a meaning behind a handshake. They just do it.
It's just like, eh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I don't hug people until I have an intimate connection with them, and I do that because I have a high God for love.
Mhm.
And to me, that relationship has more of a special meaning with the connecting, not only of the energy of love, but the physical connection of love.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
completely agree with that. And I feel that that's one of the highest ways that we honor each other is with that presence and with that regard for love. And like, I feel like that's one of the things that we've been so conditioned to believe that love is a conditioned thing. Like, I
exactly.
love you if you learn that young. And it really can be that I love you regardless of what you do, how you show up, and I love myself as well. And self-love is a big part of what's happening in the shift on our planet. And that self-love is where you can really love another and you love yourself and you can respect what you need at any given moment, your space or your connection time. But you don't feel like a neediness for love because you are love. And there's a
Exactly.
difference there.
And I think the other thing that's important, I love how I'm getting these messages as we're talking back and forth, is most people, or let's not even use the word most, people can have an attachment with a program and love.
Mhm.
Program being a belief system, and that if someone doesn't like that belief system, then all of a sudden they associate it as not liking the person. And they're two
Yes,
separate things. You could still love the person and not like what they're doing or how they're behaving. One has
absolutely.
one has whoop, one has no relationship to the other. And
Mhm.
so when you click on your video camera, you'll come back on. When
Oh,
yeah, when we attach the condition of a person with a program, we lose the relationship because there's too much of a self-absorption going on. But when we look at the responsibility of a person's belief has nothing to do with the person itself, and there is a we connected to it, then you're looking at the situation as a situation separately than the person.
yes. I agree with
Guys,
that
go ahead
completely.
and stop the video and then start it again.
Okay. Do you want me to do it as well?
Yes, because
Okay.
I don't see either of you.
Is this
Okay.
taped or live?
Yeah.
He's
No, no. I
recording.
mean, it's
Yeah.
live.
Oh, okay. So we have technical difficulties, which is common when we're
Yeah,
doing working
it's all
with
right.
energy.
Well, and what's interesting is I always find it to be such a great metaphor for what we're speaking about,
Yeah.
and that sometimes, like, our computers can glitch or overdrive or get overheated. It's just like humans, and we just have to still laugh and, oh, okay, let's adjust that and let it find its balance again.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
this is not coming back. That is strange.
Yeah, I don't see Angelica. Do you see me, Amnon?
Nope.
Oh, because I can
It's
see
on your end.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see
mine came
myself.
on, so you can see yourself because we can't see
Yeah,
you. Can you see me, Anon?
I
Nope.
can't see you.
No, I don't see. Okay, now I see.
Oh, okay, so it was on your end, Anon. It's your fault. Just kidding. So we're both on.
I still don't get a video from you though, Angelique.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I
did
did
you
what you
hit
told
your
me to do.
video?
Yeah. You want me to do it
You,
again?
yeah, hit your
Yeah.
video off and then on.
Is that better?
Let's
Well,
give it a couple of minutes. I mean, you're on, Tanya.
worst case, let's keep talking,
Yeah,
Angelica,
Yeah,
yeah.
even
just
if it
slow.
isn't. So yes, I agree with what you're saying about
The Mercury retrograde isn't on anymore. Gotta have a
it's all
playful
good.
spirit with even the computers. Go ahead.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Well, so in regards to all of that, yeah, everything basically comes to our vibration, our energy, our consciousness, and I feel that that's something that Source channels through for and has through my life for years is what you were just saying is that we can love each other, but not like necessarily and agree with how someone's behaving, but we can still feel love for that human and even feel love for where they are on their journey in their own consciousness and know that we're still one. Like if we stay focused on that loving vibration of oneness, we still are identifying and connecting with that wholeness and that oneness, that higher consciousness, even if they're behaving in a way that's hurtful or harmful, we can still have love and hold compassion for that human as they are finding their balance, as they're finding that reconnection with their source, without taking it personally. And sometimes that means we pull away and we are not necessarily sharing sacred space with them, but we can still hold a vibration of love. And that's really important for us to remember that. So.
I remember when I dropped in, and I just want to take a minute what that means because some people don't know what that means. When the
I
body's
did want you
finished,
to describe that,
yeah,
so thank
without getting
you.
too caught up in the story,
Yeah.
when the body is finished, it has a choice of dying and then the spirit moves on, or it can continue on. And in the situation that I was in with this experience, from the angelic realm, I dropped into the physical body, and people were witnessing the whole thing. And so, when people are extra sensitive, they can actually see the angelicness in the energy field, and it's kind of fun when you don't have to explain where you're from. And
Yes.
when I dropped in, which is what I kept hearing to make sure to mention, the thing that was really interesting is I've always had this connection with the etheric realm. Because it's my first time on the physical plane, I never really had a connection with the human expression. It just felt too complex to me, too difficult. People just made life too complex. And when
Heavy.
when I got caught up in the humanness, I couldn't relate to it either. And so part of the journey that I had to learn being on this planet was having a relationship with the humanness and still loving it, which was very difficult for me. And in these last few months, when I shifted the vibration to a different level, it became so apparent that some people say, when you look at another person, see their spirit and love their spirit. But I've never ever heard people say, when you see a person, see their humanness and their spirit and love both.
Hmm.
And one of the things that became really apparent to me is that the reason why I feel that there isn't as much peace on this planet is we're so used to coming from a righteousness or a fear or an insecurity or hating the humanness that
Yes.
if we
Somehow
get to a
trying to
place,
disidentify. Yes.
yeah, if we get to a place of realizing that the humanness has lessons it's learning, and by hating it, you're feeding the dysfunctionalism of that program. By embracing
Yes.
it and not almost like tough love in a sense, right? You embrace it, but don't buy into that program and
Yes.
still allow them to learn their lessons. And if it means using discernment and not being around them during that time, that's healthier for you, by all means do. But not judging that person, because the minute you judge anything, you are then becoming a participant to that experience. And if you don't believe me, go out into the world and start judging people and watch what happens.
Yes.
I could tell you from experience, I can tell you from working with people that loving
Exactly.
the humanness, in addition to loving their spirit, is what's going to bring you to a greater level of peace than
Yes.
just focusing on the spirit. And loving
Absolutely.
them doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in love with them. Loving them
Exactly.
means that you could just love them as a human person, or without even using the word love, accept them and just accept them. I mean, I'm hearing don't even use the word respect. Just accept
I
the
agree.
humanness.
Acceptance. Yes.
Accept them without feeling like you have to understand it or you have to ask why. Just have an acceptance to it and allow them to be what they came here to learn without feeling like you have to participate or fix them.
Absolutely. And
Angelica,
when we're in, oh, go
Angelica,
ahead.
go ahead and turn your video off so at least we'll have your picture. Yeah, leave it like that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Um, yeah, in regards to that, I feel that
Sorry, the
yes, as
universe.
soon as, oh, it's okay.
No,
For
it's
some
just funny
reason,
because this
there,
happens a lot where the energy becomes to a place and the phone disconnects or something at the video.
yep,
It just cracks me up. Go ahead.
it's high vibration time.
It is. It's just funny.
It is. Well,
Oh
and
my
that's
goodness.
something that we realize, like in this moment, like you learn, we accept what is, like we accept Angelica's video is not participating right now, and so
You
that
have to
is
play for
okay.
it.
Exactly. And if we didn't accept it and we're freaking out, it would very much distract us, and then we would feel frustration. I think this is a very beautiful teaching moment, actually. It's just
Yeah.
showing us like we can't necessarily control the internet or the computer, but we can tune in. Do you guys hear a beeping now?
Yeah, I'm looking to see where the beeping's coming from.
I
Does anybody know where that beeping is coming? Is it
have
coming
no
from
clue.
you?
Not my side. Sounds like an alarm
It's
going
coming.
off.
It's coming from your side,
From
Angelica.
my. Yeah, I'm looking to see where it's because I don't have anything that has an alarm. Oh, this is
Okay.
so funny. Let's see if it's the cell phone. No.
Hmm.
Oh well. Keep
Is it
going.
something in the
Keep
computer?
going. Keep going.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, if we come into a place, it's kind of like I teach a lot of yoga classes, and there's times where we've been doing yoga and like a car alarm will go off, kind of like that beeping that was just happening, and I remember one time just like I could sense all the students like kind of tensing up and kind of frustrated. They're moving around on their mats because we're in meditation. And I just was tuning into that moment, and Spirit just brought the words of wisdom to use that moment as such a teachable moment. And so I just kind of shared, accepting this moment without any need to resist, without trying to change it. And everyone just kind of relaxed again. And then at the end, we were talking about it, and a lot of the women were just like, wow, I didn't even realize it was happening. I think I just tuned it out. And then some were like, yeah, it was really irritating me, but then I just kind of listened to your words and then I let go and I just accepted it and I was fine. And so it's such a, I feel like that all happened for a synchronistic reason to
Yeah,
help
I
us
still don't know where it came from.
understand.
It's kind of
That's
funny.
okay. That's
I
okay.
know, it's really funny. I'll find out afterwards. But I just, where is this reefing coming from? It's really funny that we have these. I call them sensitivities. Like you have if the horn beeps, then you're ultra sensitive. If that doesn't bother you, but a dog does, and then you get to this spectrum of how many of these distractions pile up before it starts to get you annoyed. And it
Yes.
could be like as a normal thing, or you could just have an off day and just the way someone looks at you makes you irritated, depending upon what kind of day you're having or what kind of a moment is a better way of putting it. And
Yeah.
it's really kind of comical because one of the biggest challenges that I have discovered on this planet with myself and with others is that the more sensitive you get, the easier it is for you to get irritated by things if you give it power. And
Yes,
when
that's a
you don't
choice.
give it power and you just allow it to be, and you put your attention on the universe or on your inner spirit of love and less on the distraction of what that is irritating you, then
Yes.
your power shifts from one side to the next. And you do start laughing because it really is, in a sense, really funny. Because none of
Yes.
this really matters anyway. We're living on a holodeck that we created, and it's all an illusion. And so do you want to
Exactly.
be in this illusion in laughter, or do you want to be in this illusion in frustration? And nothing's perfect.
Laughter.
Me too. So you do get to a place where you just decide you'd rather surround yourself by more people that are in laughter so you can keep that solid and less with those that are choosing to be in drama.
Yes. And that's actually a really important point because like we're saying we're not rejecting people that are in heavy vibration, but there are some humans that are just what I call they have a very heavy pain body. Like they carry their pain and suffering heavy, and wherever they enter a room, I can feel it from them, just like I can feel a high vibration. And so it's not that we don't love all beings and all animals and all parts of the planet. It's just that you're learning from the contrast, is what Source shares with me, is we're always learning from the contrast, and we can become really powerful in what we choose to align with, what we choose to share sacred space with. And then we're having more playful time. So if we're around really maybe toxic, abusive energy, and then we're now around a lot of playful, happy, angelic energy, there's going to be a contrast. And really, we have so much power in where we choose to focus and where we choose to, share our time and our energy with. And that's going to really start to shift our life.
So perfectly put. And we do get to a place where, again, whether it's that meter that you were talking about or the line, when you get to it, and some of it, I had this dream the other day where it was saying, and it was really kind of funny, you get to a place where you get to enough wisdom and then you say, I wish I would have known this when I was this now when I was younger, because then I would have done things differently. And you get caught up in that pain of not being smart enough to know any better. Then you get to a place of realizing that the reason why you are on this planet is to get to where you are today because you're
Exactly.
wiser. And so if you
Yep.
look at the experiences, some of it's in, again, I'm sharing from an experience. It doesn't mean it's the truth, because I believe only the universe knows the ultimate truth. Is you get to a place of realizing that when you go through life and when you go through your experiences, some of it is in the experience that I've had time related, and some of it is lesson related. And if the time related is part of the process, no matter what you do or how you do it, it's not going to get you there any sooner. If it's lesson related, then the lessons will get you to the next stage. And sometimes you have to learn in the experience that I've had with people and myself, that sometimes when it's time related, you have to learn enough lessons in order to get to that next place so that you can then move on. And when it's
Yes.
lesson related and you keep making the same mistakes, it's a mistake, another opportunity to do it differently. And if you learn
Yay.
from that place of seeing it from a wisdom oriented place rather than a victim oriented place, you're going to move to the next level a lot easier and a lot more playful. And you'll enjoy the process versus just getting there, which is the end result. And you'll be wiser in the interim as well.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's such a great way to put that because we really, if we're in a panic and we're trying to force our journey, we're trying to force where we think we need to be, again, we're, losing focus of the infinite abundant space and that we're in the exact perfect place at the exact perfect moment. And when we really embrace that, everything starts to unfold even more naturally than if we're trying to push it and make it happen, you know?
Yep.
So, yes, that's such a great point. I actually, often when I'm working with clients, I can sense and tune into their energy and kind of see where they are in their vibrational experience, like their journey. And it's somewhat, it looks like if you look at a nautilus shell, like the fossils, and there's the little compartments in that nautilus shell. And that's exactly like what you were describing. I saw that vision is that when we're in one chamber, it's kind of like the cocoon phase. It's another way we could look at it. Like we're in that cocoon for a bit and we're processing, we're learning, we're becoming. And then we get to that place where we outgrow that chamber. And that's when the soul's like pushes us into another vibration because the soul is ready for expansion. And then we go into a higher chamber, but we aren't really here to force that to happen. It's really something that just happens like a flower blooming. We don't go and get mad at the flower like open faster. It's the flower is going to open exactly when it's ready.
Exactly.
And
It's funny,
that's
I
just
use that
like
analogy all
humans.
the time.
Do
But
you?
it's so perfectly or true. Or the another analogy is standing by the water and yell, "Boil already, boil!"
Exactly.
And it's not
Exactly.
going to boil if its time is not to boil. And that
Exactly.
again comes back to if it's time related, there's nothing you could do except enjoy the process and embrace the moment. And if it doesn't feel good, go to bed early.
There you go. If you're having a just hard time letting go of control, go and meditate or go to sleep. Because
Yeah.
because going to sleep sometimes is the best thing a human can do when they're in their ego too much, you know?
Exactly. The
Just
last
go
thing
be
you do, or
quiet.
go swim, or go run, or go into nature. Do something that's healthy for you versus take a drink
Oh,
or smoke
yes.
or whatever it is, because that's just bringing. And not that it's a judgment on that. It's just not solving it. It's just a band-aid over it, and it's kind of covering it up with your stress or with not wanting to face it. And
Yes.
sometimes you do have to take a break from it, and you just have to say, I don't want to deal with this right now. And you know what? You have that right to take
Absolutely.
a break and say, this is just too much.
Yes.
And can I take a break from having a conversation or from dealing with it? And then going and looking at it, you have a totally different perspective when you're rested or when you're rejuvenated. Even if it means going to the bathroom for 5 minutes and staring at the wall and
Yeah.
just looking at the wall and just saying, I love you, wall.
You're
You
so
know,
simple.
it's so simple. It's
Yes.
white. There's no
Yes.
complexities. Or looking at a
I
bird. Yeah, whatever.
I totally agree with that. And again, that like when we come back to energy and vibration, that's what Source has shared with me is that as humans, we get ourselves in trouble because we are so panicked about it. We like want to make something happen too fast. We want to make it go in our way. And that resistance is the very thing that's kind of slowing down the process. It's actually blocking the flow. And if we just can walk away and let go and, like you said, go into nature, go for a walk, go meditate and quiet your mind and just connect with your breath and release the resistance, release and
Or go to the
acknowledge.
top of a mountain and scream it out.
There you go. Whatever you
Scream
got
into
to
a
do.
pillow. Yeah, sometimes you
Yeah.
just want to scream into a pillow. You know, it's like really
Yeah.
funny depending upon where your emotions are.
Yes.
And
Let that energy go.
release the energy. Just, release it so you're not letting it control you.
Yes, because the very form of resistance is what will cause us suffering. So if we just can
Right.
release that resistance and just accept and be. Like, the more we let go and we just allow, ironically, the faster things flow to us. The more we
Exactly.
push and try to make happen, ironically, the slower the process and the more the suffering. So it's really just a choice. Do we want to continue to do what we've always done and get the same result? Or are we ready to, like I like to call it, cross the bridge to sixth sensory? We've been conditioned to be very five sensory and to make things happen. We're celebrated in our culture to go and work harder all the time. Oh, you don't know what to do. You need to work harder. I don't know what to tell you, so go do more work. And in truth, our soul is encouraging us to come into that sixth sensory space where we can just let go and we can allow and we release the resistance. We know and remember our worth and we allow the universe to flow everything to us, which seems completely opposite of what we've been taught as humans.
So
Would you
true.
agree?
Yeah, these three things from that expression. Resistance is futile. What you put your attention on expands. And instead
Yes.
of doing, be, be first, do second. Otherwise, you're going to have more poop in your diaper from all the doing.
That's a good one. I like that, Angelica. Yes, because when we're being, if you're in a 5 minutes of meditation, you're feeling frustrated, so you go and you connect with your breath. As simple as 5 minutes of breathing, conscious breathing, and releasing of resistance connects you to your source. You come back to that alignment with source, and then the solution that you're needing or the guidance, the wisdom, it comes in. And next thing, you
Exactly.
start taking aligned action. That saves time because aligned action is always going to bring you a more amazing result because it's coming from inspiration, which is alignment.
It's coming from the inner spirit as well. It's kind of
Yes,
like when you do first, that's human control. When you be first, that's inner spirit running the show. And so
yes,
when you let your inner being be, which is what a being is, then your doing will be more in alignment with your inner spirit. But when you do first, then that's the ego trying to control the being, and you're not going to get very far because you're going to hit this dead end after dead end after dead end.
yep. And some will spend their lives there, but that's exactly how much time they needed. So it's all perfect, right?
Right. And that's exactly it. When you get to a place of realization, I always kind of think it's funny when people say I'm awakened. And I don't even use that word because what really is awakened? Awakened to what? To the awareness that your inner spirit is there. Okay, great. Awakened to your heart is loving. Okay, great. Yet to me, it's awakening more and more and more and more versus
Like
awakened.
becoming.
Yeah, you're continually awakening more and more and more. When you say you're awakened, that means you're done. Then
I'm
you might as
done.
well just leave the planet.
Yes.
Because the thing that I've discovered is the more you know, the less you really do know. And that's why I have such a straight, loving bond with my spirit guides. Yes, I'm making the decisions. Yes, I'm hearing the information. And at the same time, my connection with the spirit guides is confirming things to help me to feel that every choice I'm making is coming from a more and more awakened state in this human body and not from the human programs that
Yes.
the ofness for me sometimes being so new in this body is knowing that I'm not the body, knowing I'm not the mind, knowing I'm not the heart. And I say that often because I really don't have that kind of relationship with ownership. I'm looking at the body as a vehicle to be on this planet, but I'm not the mind, I'm not the heart, I'm not the body. And so my connection to spirit, to the spirit guides, to the universe is my relationship, is my home. And it's like having a conversation with you. I have such a bond with them that if they tell me something and it feels right, then I know it's truth. And of course it's going to feel right if they're going to communicate because they're seeing things from a different perspective than it is when you're living in the human body.
Yes. Absolutely. The way
Yeah.
you're just describing that is exactly how I feel in my body. And I'm listening to you, I'm like, yep, that's pretty much it, exactly. And it's almost like I have a car, I have a Prius that I lease. And a lot of people are like, I don't get, why do you lease it? Why don't you want to own your car? And I'm just like, why do I need to own it? I'll just trade it in when I want a different one. And like a lot of people don't get that. But even in my body, I relate to that to where I'm like, I'm just leasing this body. I'm here, I'm leasing it for a while. It's serving me. This form is serving me for whatever my needs are. And when it's not, serving me any longer, I'll trade it in for a new model and I'll go and shapeshift into a new form. And I feel like that is so true for me. And I get that. And that we don't really need to feel like we have to attach to anything, including our own body, including our own belief system or our own thought process that we may have today. Tomorrow, it could be evolving, and I hope it is evolving because really, that is the very journey of becoming and evolution is we're constantly expanding and we're opening to more and more understanding. So when you were describing all that, I'm like, that makes so much sense to me.
It does. And the thing that's really kind of cool is when you're not attached to the human form. I don't know if you've ever watched, I keep recommending this movie. They probably got 20,000 billion hits on the movie alone, but it's such a funny movie, Defending Your Life with Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks, where they die and they have to defend their life as to whether to go on or stay.
I'll
And
have
as
to
a
check that out.
medium, yeah, it's really funny. You'd love it. As a medium, getting messages from the other side, a lot of the movie has a lot of truth in it. Some of it's kind of comical, and so they kind of stretched it in some ways. Yet the
Oh yeah, that's
messages,
Hollywood.
yeah, the messages are so phenomenal because every time I've watched that movie, I would get a different message. And the thing that I love about that movie is that with you were making that comment about coming as a different form, they have something like that where they're seeing themselves in previous lifetimes as different people. And it's just really funny in that you can take your spirit and the humanist, which is what I'm planning on doing, onward rather than it staying here. Is I'm going to see if that works, taking the humanist to a place where it gets so high in vibration, you just go, okay, I'm leaving, and you take the human with it.
That's
We'll,
exactly what I've
let's
told
see.
every.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
exactly, Angelica. I've told like my beloved and all my closest friends, I'm like, I don't feel this lifetime I'm gonna die. And they're like, what do you mean everyone dies? I'm like, I don't feel I'm going to this time. I think I'm gonna do it different. And they're like, how do you even think you have any say? And I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna just ascend. And they just are like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm just gonna ascend. I'm just gonna go into high vibration and just take my form with me. And they're just looking at me like, what is she talking about? But
Yeah,
it
and
is
if
so
it works,
fun to
it works,
talk
and if
to
it
you.
doesn't,
It's
yeah, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I
exactly. We're
have
just
the I
gonna
have the
try.
cremation as a backup try, but at least I have this because I don't know. I mean, I know Spirit knows, and they don't tell me.
Yeah.
They only tell me when this body's going to die. I know exactly the year. As far as whether or not the body I could take. So far, I've been hearing it, and I have been hearing confirmations that yeah, you're going to take it with you, and I just think, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's
Exactly.
kind of like take it and let it enjoy it, inform what it feels like, and then go into a different vibration or a different time with it all. I just think it would be fun.
Yeah, exactly
So,
the same motivation for me is like
yeah,
everything I do, even when I manifest money, I think like I listen to a lot of humans how they look at getting things, and it's coming from a fear and a worry that there's not enough. And for me, it's not about that. But when I'm manifesting, even I'll go, I'm gonna manifest $5,000 this week. And someone will go, well, why do you need $5,000? I'm like, I don't really need it. It'd just be fun. I just want to see if I can. And so I'm just gonna put it out there and I'm going to focus on it and visualize. And then when it comes true, I'm like, awesome. And I'm excited for my guides and my angels because I know how much they helped me. But it's really always about fun. It's like, this is fun. Let's try this. It's like life to me is like a science experiment. And I'm just
yeah,
here experimenting with a lot of theories and vibrations and energies and people and putting them all in the mix and like, okay, let's see what this is going to create and my focus is always on the highest vibration, the most loving, playful end result, and how can we make that happen together. That's what my soul is all about right there.
well, and to me, it's so important because then you're enjoying the process versus just focusing on getting there. And
Yeah.
the thing that's also important, and I just keep hearing, I love how they talk. It's like,
Mhm.
don't forget to say this kind of a thing, is
Yes,
that
say this.
we have these life lessons. Everybody does. I don't know
Yes.
anybody that doesn't, where you have different, like you're peeling an onion, different different lessons around that particular life lesson until you get to the place, and I call it until you get to your nudeness around it, where you're totally at the core, and
Vulnerability.
yeah, and you've made a sense of love, peace with that core area. Then you move your whole beingness into your purpose. And one of the things that I've discovered is that I don't set goals anymore. I don't, it's really funny to even say that. Now, with that being
I
said,
understand what you're saying.
yeah, I still have human ego desires that I would like to
Hmm.
experience. There's one that you and I talked about without
Yes.
having to share it. And playing with that instead of looking at it from a place of a limitation, which I did, a few weeks ago, and to really move, and even more so yesterday and today, after I had a birthday with this body, is to really move this vibration in this lesson that you're learning in a more playful way. Because when you do that, if it's a life lesson, it's going to wing you down if you don't, and it's going to bring you into a depressed place if you don't, and it's going to make you
Yes.
feel like you're failure if you don't. So when you
Yes.
bring it to a comical place and a loving place and an allowing place, it's just, I don't know, your whole entire beingness looks at life in a totally different way. You don't
Absolutely.
try
And
to
that's
force
when
or
you
control.
love your life, right? You
Yeah.
love the
You love it more
journey.
because you
Yes.
get to respect for realizing. There's this saying that I love to say. If you want to be an opera singer and you sing like a frog, it ain't going to happen. No matter how many lessons you're going to take, no matter how much you pray, no matter how much you pay, no matter how much you force it, it ain't going to happen because it's not part of why you're here.
Hmm.
But if you want to be an opera singer and part of your experience is to release enough of the blocks, learn enough lessons to keep moving forward with faith and trust, because in the universal plan, what the universe has for you, that is part of your purpose, then yes, it's going to happen in the universal timing, not your ego timing. And
Yes.
so you come to the realization that sometimes you don't know if it's part of your universal plan, and sometimes you do know. And
Hmm.
part of the letting it go and of the act of forcing and moving into a surrendering mode without giving up and just enjoying the moment by moment by moment. There really isn't a future anyway, because tomorrow really becomes today. And so your today is
Exactly.
what brings your tomorrow, but tomorrow really isn't a tomorrow, it's really a today. So you have a choice of today, and your past really isn't a past because it's something that passed. But the wisdom that
Yes.
you got from the past is what's going to make you smarter. So your tomorrows, which are really your todays, are going to be more enlightening anyway. So your choice is in the moment. Do you want to be in pain or do you want to be in joy?
And you choose where you put the dial or the lever.
Exactly. That's the only thing that
Exactly.
you have complete control over is how you feel inside yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what my angels were just saying, what they call the infinite now moment. It's
Yeah.
really an infinite now. It's forever unfolding in the now. And when we arrive and we show up, life shows up and we show up with life and there's no resistance, it's impossible to be depressed. Like really, I when I see clients that are saying they're depressed or I see people on Facebook talking about how depressed they are, I will chime in and just remind them that they're a beautiful being and that they are love and so loved, and to focus upon that truth and then tell me if that depression is still there, because there's no way to be depressed when your focus is upon love. It's impossible. So it's
Yeah.
like just get your focus in the right alignment and everything will unfold from there.
And it's not about being in denial about the pain, because
No.
sometimes you have to go into it and focus on
Yes.
embracing that through love rather than ignoring it
Absolutely.
or shoving it back down. And
Absolutely. You have to be
that
with it, like
you have to
embody
be
and
with it and really
mhm.
be with it. Really,
Yes.
embrace, not as a participant, as an observer, be with it, because sometimes if
Yes.
you participate, it'll suck you down a little too much. Now, with
Yes.
that being said, sometimes through participating, through observing, you do on some level participate because you're releasing things. But you're
Hmm.
not in the drama of it, you're not sucked down on it, so you're your beingness is still experiencing it
It's
without
like
it
you're
trying to
shedding a
run away.
snake skin. Like you
Yeah,
know you're a
exactly, Claire.
snake and you're fine, but the skin's shedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting because when you're saying that, I remember a time where one of my friends was present and with me, and I was going through a lot of stuff with my ex-husband, and it was a really tense moment, and I was crying and I was upset, and I just started to laugh, and my friend's looking at me like I'm crazy, and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, and I'm crying, and I'm like, "It's okay. I'm releasing energy. It's gonna pass." And
Exactly.
she's just looking at me like, "You are a crazy woman," and walked away from me. But as she walked away, I was totally fine with it. Like I was letting the body grieve because the body had a
Exactly.
lot of emotion it needed to release. But my awareness was observing the whole thing and it was laughing. Like, it's okay. Like I'm just releasing. And so
That's so
it's,
funny
yeah,
because, which, we have this in common based on what you just said, is that you're not the humanist and yet you're still embracing it. And so
yeah,
you're not hooked into it in a sense of the drama around it, yet you still are allowing it to process. And
yes,
I have discovered that when there were times, it's not so much, thank God, um, anymore, when there were times when it felt really, really heavy during those 27 give and take years of releasing some of those energies. And for me, being since 97, finishing it up, that you get to a place of just realizing you dive in so that you could get to the core and release it rather than
yes.
just getting to the surface. And people used to watch it, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, I just need to process. I just need to get in it, feel it, embrace it,
Learn
love it
from
for what
it.
it is. Just keep sending me love. Let me just, even if I ask your opinion, just say, yeah, you're doing fine, and just and then
Yeah.
in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes or whatever minutes, it's like,
You're like,
okay, let's go
whew.
play.
Exactly. Which is
And I
pretty
would
much
get several
exactly what,
looks. It's like, what did
yeah.
you just do?
Exactly. Well, and in a
Uh,
way, we're also mirroring. That's what my angels have shown me is, as they've said, that I'm here as a human to be a mirror to them, to help them understand what they need to process in themselves. And so, channeling higher consciousness, but being in a human form, there's a purpose I have for that, and it's to help connect with them and to help them see kind of like cross that bridge. There's that ethereal realm that seems so far away and so invisible to so many humans, and it's really not that far away. And we're kind of here to bridge that and help them to connect and realize that that processing is something that can be very simple and we can even laugh at it. We can even kind of go
exactly.
with the flow and enjoy it. It doesn't need to be this really intense, serious thing.
And, the other thing that's important is this first half of the year, which I was just told to mention, was really going deep into your core stuff with a lot of people that I've been working with, helping them to move into that core. The second half is going to be a lot more nurturing. And as we move closer to 2016, but by the time we get to 2016, the spirit's going to flip. And the humanists won't have to be so in control and work so hard so that the spirit will start driving the car per se, and the humanist will take more of a vacation and not have to feel like it has to control so much. And
Yes, I
or
feel
we
like I'm already
move that.
there. Like that's exactly what I've been
Well, that's
going
what I was just going to
through.
say is that many people are already there, and so their role is to help support those that are not there so that we can
Yes.
get a big enough number that by the time we get closer to 2016, the awakening is greater than it is now. And that's why there's so
Yes.
much going on with the planet upheaval, and because it's part of that awakening of it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when I was called in, like you dropped in and
Yeah, I
I
literally
was in
dropped
my
in.
human body and I was called in and told that I was here to lead a great shift of awakening for humanity. And did I remember my mission? That's literally what they told me.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, yes, I do. I mean, it was in a journey and I agreed to it. And ever since, that's exactly what I've been assisting with. And I feel since we're actually at the end of the show, but didn't that hour go by super fast when we were having
It did
fun?
go by fast.
um, but basically, Angelica and I both assist humans and animals I assist as well. Do you work with animals as well, Angelica?
I can read, I can hear, feel, and see birds and dogs and horses, but I don't promote it anymore as a means of livelihood like I do this other piece,
Yeah,
only because I don't know the relationship that I have with others. I just know I have a strong bond with birds and I have a strong bond with some horses and some dogs.
me
It
too.
mostly the wild birds. And so for me to promote like people that have taken animals in and um, have this relationship more from a home place, I don't have as strong of a bond in that
Yeah.
area. So for me to say promoting it wise wouldn't come from integrity, and I don't want to do that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
basically, my point was that we're both assisting humans at this time in helping them to come to their core, as you say, come to their center. Like I can tune in and see the vibrational, energetic patterns that are going on and help and assist. And I sense Angelica has a similar thing she's doing. And that's what our mission is really, is to help with our own journey and have fun, because that's our alignment. And then from that place to really assist the souls that are ready for that assistance, to help shed the heaviness and to clear that pain and clear that it's just a low vibration, if we just keep it real simple about energy, so that they can, like you're saying in 2016, what's being shown to you is that we're going to have most majority of humanity in a higher vibration and really allowing more than feeling like we have to force and do. So,
And my focus is working with those that are done with the drama versus being in the drama.
me too.
Yeah,
I'm
I
ready.
work with
I'm here to
people.
help the ones who
Yeah,
are ready to step over.
I work with those
Yes,
that are interested in awakening their inner spirit, that,
yes.
um, seeing the other people on the other side and helping them with messages. They still have to take the responsibility, not but, and they still have to take the responsibility of living their life, because they can guide you, but they're not going to do it for you. You have to take
Exactly.
responsibility for your life and
Yes.
the choices that you're making, and to be able to realize that it's your life and not an ancestral's life, meaning your family lineage, or your inner spirits. I mean, your spirit guide's life. It's your life. They're just there to assist with some
Guides.
support. Yeah, they're guides,
Yeah, they're just
and
guides.
myself
They're
working
not
with
here to
you.
do our work for us.
Exactly. And when I work with people, my mission is to make you self-reliant so that you become to that place of awakening more and more and more and more to the realization of your inner spirit being more active and your humanness being more dormant. It doesn't mean that your humanness will die or that you'll hate it. It just means that the relationship will shift and you still have a loving relationship with it. It's just
You'll
in a
just be
different
more
way.
tuned
Yeah.
into your higher spirits
Yeah.
for the wisdom
So,
guide.
so one
Yes.
thing that if it's okay to mention this, if for the first three people that contact, if you choose to allow myself to work with you, the first three people that contact me either via phone 971-217-6576 or through the website heart, HEART, of motivation dot webs, WEBS, like spiderwebs.com. I'll give you $10 off your 20-minute or longer session that you commit to and ready to purchase at that moment. Because when you commit, you're committing, but when you commit with excuses, you're not committing.
Absolutely. Great point. And like Angelica said, she and I both really represent that same high vibration of integrity, and we're here to assist the souls that are ready to step into their power. They're ready to clear the fear, the low vibration, and they're ready to accept accountability and responsibility. And so if you're not really at that place yet, that's okay, but we're probably not the best healers or light workers for you. But if you
Yeah.
are ready for someone to challenge you, but in a loving challenge, like to shine the light and to assist you and help you to empower yourself and to liberate yourself, then give Angelica or I a call and we can help you. Because
And what's the phone
that's what
number?
we're here to shift, right?
Yeah,
Oh, and
what's your phone?
my website, I think they can see my website. I'm not sure, but it's TanyaAngel555.com. And any of you that are on Facebook, you can find me under Tanya Angel. Actually, no, I'm on Tawnya Love. Tawnya Love on Facebook or Tawnya Angel on YouTube. If you want to watch this show later, all these videos are recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So there's plenty of ways you can contact me. And if you want to come to Ashland and see Angelica and I, we're going to be out offering our healing assistance and
Well,
speaking and having fun
yeah,
at
and I don't use the
PranaFest.
word healing. I use the word awakening.
Awakening. Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah. So
works.
just so I'm clear,
I
so
like to call it alignment. We're
there we
assisting
go,
you with
alignment.
alignment. So,
Yeah, we're in agreement
yeah.
with that word. Yeah, I'm careful about using healing because I don't work on physical ailments, and some people
Okay.
associate healing with physical ailments.
Where I
So
have, so that
yeah,
makes sense for me. But
yeah.
yeah, so basically, I just want to say happy birthday to Angelica because I totally
Thank
spaced to
you.
say that in the beginning. But happy birthday to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. And
And thank you for this fun experience. What do you
yes,
know what realm you're from? You know, I'm from the fairy realm. Are you aware of what
actually,
realm?
I am. Well, I actually came in. I've had several lifetimes I've had memories of where I was Native American, but one of the angelic lifetimes I was just in an angelic realm, and it's kind of like a crystal palace. I've told people that I've seen visions, and it's kind of like a mixture between the movie Thor and Lord of the Rings, where the elves
Ah,
live. And so that's what it looks like, and it's
cool,
very, I think there's a lot of our fantasy movies are more realistic than we realize.
cool,
So,
very cool.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Angelica. And like, if you any of you want to contact Angelica for assistance, or if you feel connected to my vibration, we're both here doing the same work, and there's plenty to go around. So we would
Same and
love to
different.
assist you. Yes, we
Yeah,
are
same
here
and
to
different. Yeah,
assist, and there's more than enough. There's more than enough
exactly.
humans that are ready for assistance. So thank you
And you
for
could check our
contacting.
websites and learn our gifts so you could see, because I truly
Yes,
believe that God did make duplicates. So
yes,
we all have different forms of gifts in the way that we express them. And
absolutely.
that's where I come from. So although we may say it's similar, I believe it's very different in many ways.
Yes.
So check out the websites and see who you resonate most with.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, love your life, love your path, live, love, and laugh, and enjoy the process. And thank you for listening to this amazing show. And I so appreciate Anand and Tanya for letting me be part of this experience.
Yes, our pleasure, love.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you all for tuning in this week. Have a great and amazing, blessed week for the next week. And if there's any questions or comments that you want to send us, go ahead and write them in, and Amnon can let us know at the end of the show because we're kind of going constantly. But I wish you all the best, and thank you for sharing your sacred time and space with us. Namaste.
Peace and blessings.
Peace out.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.